Fellow nerds, we are talking Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. We got a new trailer, and we're going to break it down and discuss it. But before we get into all that, I think our friend Doug has something to say, a little something on screen. Ghostbusters back in town?
Yeah, so do you guys remember back when we were talking about when the teaser dropped, I had mentioned that one of the things that concerned me was they were going to be releasing a prequel comic, because I had mentioned in a lot of interviews that this movie is going to take place, obviously these actors and actresses have all aged, this is going to take place about 5 or 6 years later. So to fill in the gap from Oklahoma, where they were at, to New York, where this movie is going to take place, we get prequel comics from Dark Horse, and there's this is the first one. Notice that I've pointed out when this one goes on sale. Keith, what does that date say?
It looks like March 27th.
It is March 27th, yeah. And any guesses when the movie comes out?
March 26th.
March 22nd. March 22nd. So, they have told us that they're going to be releasing prequel comics to fill in the gap, which they've kind of made it clear that you really need to read the comics to understand how they got to where they're at, but they're not releasing the comics until long after. And notice I have said plural, comics, because it's not one, there will be 6 of them. So
that just means we see it, we do our spoiler-free review of Frozen Empire, we read the comics, and then when it comes out on Blu-ray DVD, we then are like, oh, we get it now, because we, remember in Back in Town number 3, when this happens, that's why this is.
I just, is it me? Am I overreacting? This just seems like a dumb move, and I don't understand why they're doing this.
You are not overreacting at all. If you think they really wanted to fill in the gap,
yeah,
and have it make sense leading in, especially for the Ghostbusters, crowd out there, they would have released it before it to give them whet their appetite for the movie.
Right? I don't get it. This is just such a weird move. But then I remembered the production company responsible for this movie. Sony. It's our old pals, Sony.
Yeah, of course.
They're not the best at marketing over
there. They are not. But should we dive into the trailer?
We should dive into the trailer, even though we don't have a comic, so we don't know how they got to where they are.
I've been waiting 40 years for this. They called themselves Ghostbusters. According to these hacks, they saved the world. No eyewitnesses. And who was found to carry the torch?
All right, can you stop here real quick?
Of course. Going to transition back to this.
Yeah. All right. So we were just talking about if you go back and you watch our video talking about Deadpool, for those of you watching this on YouTube, we were pretty clear that we're excited about all the different cameos that might appear in that movie. What they're doing in this trailer is kind of the opposite of that, I feel. They seem to keep showing clips of the original Ghostbusters movie, and I know they're doing it for the nostalgia bait, and it feels icky to me. Yeah. Like, I like the first and second movie. They're good movies, but let this one stand on its own. You don't need to keep being like, hey, remember berries? You remember Ghostbusters 1?
Remember? Hey, remember Ghostbusters? Oh, I remember. Remember Slimy?
You remember the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man? You remember the Ecto-1? It's like, yeah, movie. I remember that stuff. What do you got new for me?
Yeah, that's why I'm here, because I remember that stuff.
Right.
It seemed like they were trying to draw a parallel. I looked at it as it was a transition moment from the original team to this, because they kind of showed parallels, like the new kids and Paul Rudd were in the car.
Paul Rudd.
And then they switched to Dan Aykroyd and that. It looked like they were trying to show that it was a transition from the original Ghostbusters to this new team that's going to be, carrying the mantle. Did they do it well?
I hope that's
not really. But that's what I thought they were trying to go for.
And listen, I don't know about you guys, but I own the on vinyl, I own the soundtrack of this movie. To not this movie, to the original Ghostbusters.
Although mine is in horrible condition because my mom got it for me when I was a kid, and then I overplayed it.
Yeah, mine's not in good condition either. But one of the main songs on that was called "The Boys Are Back in Town."
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I noticed with the name of the comic. I thought, oh, missed opportunity. They should have just named it "The Boys Are Back in Town." I wonder if that's going to be one of the main songs in this movie.
Possibly.
I would be surprised if they didn't play it.
Mm-hmm. They are back in town.
They are.
And after
girls.
the movie, we'll find out how they got back in town. In the comic.
Right. The prequel comic.
The reverse Filoni.
I know. I love that. Can that be a new term? The reverse and it looks like they pulled a reverse Filoni. Oh, yeah. Boy, I wonder how that's going to play out.
Oh, that's going to hurt in the morning.
All right, let's
soon forget that.
Of Egon Spengler. You have a miner hanging out the side of a moving vehicle, firing a laser gun indiscriminately.
Can I just say, this guy on screen has no dick.
Okay. I didn't want to make that joke because I'm in way too many Ghostbusters fan groups on Facebook, and every single time somebody posts a picture of the actor that plays Walter Peck, oh hey, it's dickless. Oh look, I bet that guy has no dick. Oh,
it's true.
It's so overplayed.
Well, I am not in those, so I apologize for making a great
You're
joke.
fine. You're fine. I want to make a statement for any other Ghostbusters people that are watching this. Let it rest. All right. The poor dude has been, since the 80s, you've been calling him dickless. Give him a break.
Yeah. Let the guy.
Just for record, Doug is not related to this actor.
No.
Is he? I think he might be.
Has a proton pack.
It's completely safe.
I wouldn't say completely safe.
The Ghostbusters are finished. Well, overruled.
Sustained.
Thank you.
You the weird guy who buys strange old things?
Correct on both counts.
I'll pause real quick. So, do we think, going back to the Walter Peck scene, in the first movie, he was an EPA agent, a federal agent, right? It kind of looks like he's either a judge or the mayor of New York. What sort of position do you think he has that he's got the Ghostbusters in his office? And
I thought he was the mayor.
He's, you think he might be the mayor?
That was when I saw the trailer for the first time. I was like, oh, He's now the mayor.
I was wondering. I wasn't entirely sure because, like, I've gone back and I've watched that scene, and I saw people compare, the way that he's dressed to the way that the mayor was dressed in the first movie, and they're saying, well, they gave him the same costume, so it's pretty obvious. I was like, well, maybe. I don't know. It just, I guess for the world of the movie, it would make sense, but for a federal agent of the EPA to suddenly run for political office, it seems a little weird to me, but we'll see. See if it makes sense. Maybe once I read the prequel comic that explains.
Yeah, that's right. All explained in the comic.
I'm not going to let this go.
No, as you shouldn't. And then, we got Kumail Nanjiani in that clip right there, obviously bringing some artifact, who is definitely going to be the MacGuffin that brings, the Frozen Empire into this movie. But I'm just happy to see him. He's a wonderful comedian and actor, and I'm glad he is in Ghostbusters.
And he can let it go.
well, he will. He will for some money.
Let it go.
Speaking of this scene that you're getting ready to show us, a quick Rick and Morty reference. I mean, technically it's a Stephen King.
Oh yeah.
Reference, but obviously this is a play on the Devil's Store. What was that place called?
Needful Things.
Needful Things. That's it. Thank you, Dave. Yeah, it's definitely like a whole play on the whole Needful Things. As all these people are bringing in cursed objects, as we're about to see the Frozen Empire MacGuffin. It's one of them.
You just hit the jackpot.
What is it?
Better question is, what's inside of it?
The parables tell it.
They like gave away quite a bit right there with the guy's arm touching into freezing. Is that going to hurt the movie? Probably not. But
I don't know. I mean,
always
they've
worry
given away
when they give away
a lot.
way too much in the trailer. We were just talking, watch our video on YouTube on the Deadpool trailer breakdown. They gave away nothing. Some fight scenes, some silliness. This seems to be really digging into a lot of what causes this outbreak, which causes, new and old Ghostbusters to join forces and get out there and kick ghost butt.
Right.
Well, whenever I see a very revealing trailer like that, in the back of my mind, I'm always hoping that means there's a much deeper story than we know about. If they're giving up the game that early. But unfortunately, that's not always the case. I hope that is the case here.
I was going to say, that's very silver lining. Very silver lining of you,
that's pretty
Dave,
silver lining.
Because a lot of the times, I think they're showing us too much. They want a big opening weekend because there's not going to be much there.
This is Sony. I think they're showing us like 90% of the movie.
Like we said, they're bad at marketing. They don't know how
really
to. They should call Zack Snyder to make their trailers.
He makes great trailers. Yeah, that would work.
He does. If that was his career making trailers, he'd be awesome.
Yes, but wouldn't everybody think that they're going to a big, dark, dramatic slow-mo fest?
They would.
An unimaginable evil commanding an army of ghosts. With the power to kill by fear itself.
Like literally scared to death?
We might be looking at a second ice age.
We're gonna need all the help we can get.
Dan Aykroyd just laying it on. This is with an army of ghosts at their disposal. This is, I'm hoping that's just Dan Aykroyd being in character. Because, sometimes they talk a little bit too much it up. And I really hope as he's saying this, everyone's like, okay, old crazy dude. Yep.
Just like in the first one.
Yeah.
When he's going nuts and then Bill Murray says, all right.
So
Right.
that's going to be what I think is going to be one of the downfalls of this movie is the fact that we don't have Ivan Reitman and Harold Ramis to cut out some of Dan Aykroyd's more crazy things, because if you have seen, I don't know if either of you have ever come across the original script that Dan Aykroyd wrote for the Ghostbusters before Ivan Reitman said, "This is insane, please stop doing drugs for like 5 minutes."
Now I want to read
No,
it.
I haven't seen it.
They were apparently exterminators on Mars fighting space ghosts, and they had magic wands that came out of their wrists.
Okay.
And that was like just the basic premise. And then it just got weirder from there. And it was apparently going to be like a 3.5-hour movie.
Well, I'm glad they made those minor changes.
Right. So I hope the son of Ivan Reitman, Jason Reitman, who is producing this movie, I hope him and the directors and writers involved, I hope they, sat Dan down and said, "Hey, buddy, I know that you actually believe in all this stuff. I know that you've got your Crystal Skull vodka that you got to sell, and it's made with like alien juice or something. Let's tone it down a little bit."
I hope you're right.
I always remember the Dan Aykroyd quote where he says, "When people look down at the floor, they see a floor. When I look down at the floor, I see molecules." So he's got like really deep thoughts going on in his head, and they're probably too deep for like an audience to understand where he wants to go with it.
They probably are.
But if you, mold it the right way, they could get something good. And I do hope this is a good movie, but I do sometimes worry about it.
I do hope this is a good movie. I think I am worried, but I do hope it's good.
Melnitz in uniform.
I love that they do have music though.
But there's something strange.
The library ghost, the little mini puffs are back.
Yeah, I think they need to stop with the Stay Puff, Mini Puffs.
Yeah.
Like with...
I get it's like they're minions, they got to have the little cute selling point, but please stop.
Yeah, I agree.
That's a Sony thing.
Yeah, they probably demanded it was in there.
In the world of this movie, there's no logical reason for them to exist anymore. They caught Gozer.
Yep.
Gozer was a reason that they even existed. They shouldn't even still be there.
Stay Puft was not a thing before that final battle, and he died at the end of that battle. So,
but again, I'm trying to make sense out of a Goofy movie, so.
Wonder if they're gonna throw any gremlins in there.
But one of the things that, like I said, one of the things that I'm happy about is that we are seeing some new gear. We're seeing that entire engineering room for the Ghostbusters. The fact that they've got all those different containment units. They're studying the ghosts. They've got a drone trap.
I was gonna say that's coming up here in a minute. That's cool that they use a drone to try to chase down in the sky instead of.
If you think about it, the original gear was made in the 80s. Some of it should have been updated by now. We're now in the 2020s. The minute you buy a computer, it's already outdated within 3 days. So.
If there's something weird, who are people gonna call?
Ghostbusters, what do you want?
We're the Ghostbusters. Can I tell you something else? What?
I don't like that, by the way.
It makes me feel good. Makes me feel good.
No. I'm with you, Doug.
Which party?
So the Annie Pot scene. That's what I want to talk about. Okay. In the context of the first movie, and I really hate to be that nitpicky guy, in the context of the first movie, it made sense for her to say that. I have seen this movie so many times, so I remember the scene like the back of my hand. In that particular scene, she was upset that Bill Murray's character was talking down to her and treating her like just a secretary. And she looked at him and said, "I thought you told me we were going to hire more help." And he said, "Well, if you can't handle it, then I'm sure you'd be able to get a job in the food service industry or something like that." And so when she answers the phone, she's pissed. And she says, "Ghostbusters, what do you want?" It's not really a catchphrase. It was just what she said in the moment because she was upset.
Yeah.
So I'm going to need to see, when we finally see this movie, I'm going to need to see what the context is for her to say that line again. Or I guess I'm going to have to read those prequel comments to understand what made Janine so angry.
Well, and it could be something. We obviously see Bill Murray come in and go, "Oh, you got her in a uniform now." And maybe he's going to be treating her bad again. Like, that's not your role here. And we may see something along those lines to justify that catchphrase coming in. But you're right. If she just answers the phone that way with no justification for being angry, then that's not the right way to pay homage to an earlier movie.
Correct. I love that.
Heads up. All dark and horny at 12 o'clock.
The one thing I do kind of like about this, they're the monster, the
main ghost,
the main villain.
Yeah,
looks horrifying.
Yes.
Yeah.
They did not try to sort of water this down. They didn't try to, you see that, you're like, holy cow, can I take my kid to this movie? Is he gonna be scared for a month?
Did you hear what inspired them? Where they got the inspiration from for this monster?
I did not.
Was it Steppenwolf?
No, the cartoons.
I knew they had said that they were drawing inspiration from the real Ghostbusters cartoon. I didn't know the villain was part of that too.
Yep. Yeah, because that was one of the things that they ended up having to change up the animated series in the late 80s, early 90s, just because people were saying, "Oh, this isn't kid friendly. All of the ghosts that you made are way too scary looking, and you're giving kids nightmares." And so they had to make it more colorful and bright and goofy towards the end of the series. But in its I'd say first 4 or 5 seasons, it was pretty frightening. There were some horrific ghosts.
Well, good. Hopefully they're doing this right.
Were they pulling
That
out
part
people's
might be
heads?
pretty cool. I am looking forward to seeing that. Especially the fact, like, you saw that it had to power up by grabbing those horns off the walls and shoving them into his head. Yeah, I think it is. And then this. Okay. Yeah.
Slimer.
Yep.
Yeah, just, giving Finn Wolfhard the Bill Murray getting slimed
Yeah.
part. I was like,
It's like, sure, okay.
Fan service done wrong.
That's how I feel. I know that a lot of the more hardcore fans of this are probably like, oh my gosh, yeah, all Slimer's back. I don't know, man. I think it's too overplayed. I liked that you paid homage to Slimer in Afterlife by having a different ghost that was similar enough to be like, oh, this kind of reminds me of the way Slimer was, but it's different. And the fact that it like ate metal, spit it out and everything, and they were able to use it later on, I thought that was cool. That was a nice change. But this, it's almost like they're like, no, okay, we need to bring them back to New York. They need to drive the Ecto-1, and we need to have Slimer. And it's like, are you just trying to make old Ghostbusters again?
We need to have the firehouse. We need to have the agent now be like their boss. We need. Yeah. It does seem a lot of. It almost seems like
Force Awakens.
That's what I was just gonna say, Dave. It seems like Force Awakens, where they said we need to make a new Star Wars movie, but we need to make sure that people like it. So let's make it a lot like Episode 4, because everyone loves Episode 4, so we're good.
I like that, Dave. Yeah, that's kind of the feeling that I think I'm getting. I mean, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's going to turn out to be amazing, and maybe I'm just, overthinking it all, and I'm speculating all of this negativity for nothing.
No, I
think
it's
kind of like the movies that we look at tonight. Deadpool being the first one. I'm hyped about that, and I don't think you can lower my hype. But for this one, I think I'm going to have to lower my hype in order to enjoy it.
Yeah, same. I mean, I think, honestly, I hate to say it, but for like everything Sony is crapping out this year, that's how I'm going to have to go in with no expectations.
Yep. Starting with this week's Madam Web on Thursday night, we will be doing a spoiler-free review from Sony Pictures or whatever.
Yeah, this I don't think you're being overly critical. I think they did a bad job with this trailer because they relied too much on nostalgia and not enough on...
They're giving a lot away.
Yeah. It's nice seeing, Patton Oswalt, Kumail Nanjiani, a lot of people I like and enjoy. But if this is just going to be like, hey, all the stuff from Ghostbusters 1 and 2 that you liked, we're putting in this movie to make it cool so you like it. I'm probably not going to like it. And it seems that is the direction they're going. And I hope with all those people in it that I like, they just put together a terrible trailer that does not do justice to the final product.
I hope that's all it is. I really hope this is just a bad trailer. And, I hope it's a good, enjoyable movie. And I hope, a month later when I've finally read all of the prequel comics, I have a better understanding of said movie.
You'll be like, that scene now makes sense. I now know why Finn Wolfhard's character was
slimed. I get it. He's slimed. I get it now. He was in the same library in the same section, and he was slimed. I get it. Slimer's still there.
He wasn't slimed in a library. Wasn't he slimed in a hotel?
In the hotel, yeah.
Okay, the hotel.
Yeah, it's hoping it's good. But, I mean, my hype level for this probably went down with this trailer.
Well,
because of the constantly hearkening back to the original movies, which Ghostbusters 1 and 2 are great movies. My kids love them. I love them. I liked Afterlife. It was good. Wasn't, spectacular or anything along those lines. And this almost looks like a step back.
It feels like it's going to be to me.
You think they'll have a Harold Ramis ghost in this one?
Oh, I hope not.
Yeah,
I hope not too, but I wouldn't put it past.
That's going to be bad.
You did it I don't want to say the right. If you were going to do it the way they did in Afterlife was fine. It was a smidge. It was there for a little bit. You didn't focus in on it too much, and you didn't have him speak with some horrible AI voice. So thank God for that.
Yeah.
But yeah. It could have been worse, and I think they treated it fine in Afterlife. Don't do it again, though. Do not bring him back again.
See, that's what I'm scared about, because they keep bringing parts of part 1 and 2 back, and the Harold Ramis thing worked in the last movie, so like, oh, it worked there, let's use it again.
If the Sony executives had their way, we will probably be getting about a 10-minute speech from Harold Ramis's Ghost in this about how proud he is of everybody, and the dude who was behind us at Afterlife will probably be loving it, but I don't think the rest of us will.
Yeah.
Now, Bill Murray has gone on record to say that multiple times that he never wanted to do any other Ghostbusters movies after the first one. He was contractually obligated to do the second one. And I think there was some sort of contract that said that he had to be in some of the other ones too. But he didn't. He figured the first movie was one and done. That's all. That's all he wanted it to be. And he's very much wanted to be more of a serious actor, to the point where in a lot of roles you've heard reports later on from him being on set like, yeah, let's actually write in that this character dies. It kind of reminds me of Harrison Ford in a way.
Yeah.
Because that was one of the big things that caused him and Harold Ramis to fight on the set of Groundhog Day, was he wanted to be a more serious movie, and he wanted his character to die at the end. And he went so far as to hire another writer after he got on set and start rewriting the script mid-shoot.
Bill Murray hired the writer?
Bill Murray hired another writer.
Oh, wow.
Well, didn't they... Well, go ahead.
To counter-write what Harold Ramis had already written. And so Harold, like, just to, placate him, was like, okay, yeah, we'll shoot your scene and then we'll shoot my scene. But it got to be too expensive. So they just stopped shooting Bill's stuff.
And that's when they stopped talking to each other for
That is when they stopped talking to each other. They did not speak to each other until Harold was on his deathbed.
Yeah. It's a very sad story. They were in how many movies together before that?
Oh, I know, so many. Like in the arm. Oh no, not in the Stripes. Stripes, and weren't they together in or at least they worked together in what do you call it?
Was Harold Ramis in Caddyshack?
That's what I was thinking. Maybe
no, he was not in.
Maybe he helped write it then or something.
Well, he might have.
But they were in a bunch of movies together.
Yeah. And I know that they didn't they do improv together for what is it, Second City?
Second City, yep.
Yep.
So I know they all knew each other, and they were from SNL and everything like that. So.
Yep.
But. Yeah, it is a shame that they let, something silly like that get between their friendship. But all of that to say, I wonder if Bill Murray is going to try and sneak in. Oh, by the way, you should kill Peter in this. This would be a good scene. Just go ahead and kill me off. I do not want to be in any more of these. Please kill me off.
Please kill
all
the original.
As long as it's a death like...
Right.
Yeah. As long as it's a death like the one in Zombieland, that'd be cool.
Hey, he got his wish.
That was actually pretty good. That was great.
Yeah, he should be the Bill Murray that died in that movie.
Right. There you go. Hey, fellow nerds. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you want to see more of this stuff, make sure that you check out our Twitch stream. We try to do these live Sunday or Monday nights, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Keep an eye on our social media to find out when you can join in live and chat with us during these live streams. Also, as usual, don't forget to check out our other social media. Add us at Twitter, comment down below, and we'll see you next time right here on Not Your Status Quo.